You're watching the news on Magic Bricks now. I'm Amata Balachandra. Let's take a look at the top headlines. A 30-kilometer long oil spill off Chennai coast threatens marine life and fishermen's livelihood 5 days on. Ill-equipped locals and coast guards get together to clear the oil slick. Politicians, meanwhile, indulge in blame game. Finally, a breakthrough. Conclusive leads emerge in the rape and murder of the 24-year-old Vileparle physiotherapist. Police have a suspect. A DNA check next. And human apathy claims another life in Karnataka. This time, a teen cyclist who met with an accident bleeds to death after he was left unattended for 40 minutes in Koppal district of Karnataka. And fine print of Budget 2017 reveals a 2 lakh cap on interest deduction from the second home loan. We break it down for you. Straight up to our top news, major breakthrough in the Vileparle murder and rape case, which we've been tracking relentlessly here on Magic Bricks now for the last 2 months. Now, after 2 months, prime suspect in the case, 27-year-old Debashish Dara, has been arrested. Police say that they possess clinching evidence against him. Disha Shah gets us more details.
After 2 months, finally there's a breakthrough in a case of a 24-year-old physiotherapist who was raped and murdered at her own place in Vileparle here in Mumbai. This is the case that we have been tracking for the past 2 months, each and every development of the story. And now what we understand is that the accused has finally been arrested by the Vileparle police officials on the early hours of Wednesday morning from his neighbourhood, that's West Bengal, where he used to stay with his family. And what we also understand from the investigating officer Mahadev Nimbalkar here at Vileparle is that talking about the details of the case, what he told us is that the victim was not known to the accused and he used to stay in the Vileparle area but not around and not at the chawl where she used to reside. In fact, they have also done DNA and medical tests and examinations on the accused, and the reports will be out anytime soon. In fact, what we also understand at this point is that although the accused has not confessed to the crime, the investigating officer, what he told us is that they have strong and solid evidence against the accused which can prove him guilty, and also they'll also appeal to the court to fast track his trial as soon as possible so that and he should be hanged to death. This is what they are going to appeal to the court, considering the nature of the crime. And lastly, the accused will be produced before the Andheri Magistrate Court on Friday. So we will continue to track this case very closely on our channel. This is Disha Shah from Magic Bricks Now.
Accused nabbed, and the reports of DNA check will be out, something that we'll keep a close watch on here on Magic Bricks. Now, on to national capital now, where a 21-year-old woman was gang raped by 3 men in a moving car on Monday. Incident happened in South Delhi's Amar Colony. One of the accused was known to the victim, who had called her for a job interview. Later, he, along with other 2 men, raped her and dumped her at an isolated stretch. All the 3 accused have now been arrested by the police and sent to 14 days in judicial custody. Meanwhile, a shocking incident of human apathy in Karnataka, in Koppal this time. A 19-year-old cyclist bled to death as the onlookers went on to record videos instead of helping him. Deceased Anwar Ali was riding a bicycle when a state transport bus hit him. Anwar reportedly asked pedestrians to help, but they refused to oblige and were seen recording the incident instead.
It's a very tragic incident. The images are quite disturbing as well. I think we have comprehensively proved through our studies that people do not help road accident victims primarily because of 3 reasons. 1, fear of police harassment. 2, detention at hospitals. And 3, getting sucked into the judicial process. So they obviously are apprehensive about it. The same people, you will find that they don't mind helping people when, for example, if it's a train accident, or whether there is a building collapse, or even in fire. We have seen people losing their lives trying to help others. Only when it comes to road accident victims, we have seen that people don't help the victims. And this is primarily because of these three impediments. That has been removed now by the Supreme Court judgment. In fact, the Karnataka government went a step ahead. They passed a bill, the Good Samaritan Bill, state-specific for the state of Karnataka. Now, this was done in December 2016, but it has to be made into an act, and that's a process which is still ongoing. What this incident should force is to get the Karnataka government first to make it into an act rather than just remain in paper.
We seem to have become a nation of apathetic, complacent citizens. This just goes to show that there is no sensitivity left among the citizens of this country. Time and again we have been blaming the government, the bureaucracy of being complacent. But here we are seeing citizens on a daily basis who refuse to lend a helping hand, may not be able to do anything physically, but they could have called for the ambulance immediately. These are the same people who are taking a video, clicking photographs, Twittering, Facebook, but unable to lend a helping hand. And it is not simply complacent, it is pathetic that we have reduced ourselves to being so insensitive, and this is nothing but criminal.
Moving on to the big story from Chennai now, as the city unites to fight a toxic oil spill that has put marine life and local fishermen at risk. Telling visuals, as you see on your screens there, it is estimated over 20 tons of oil spill after two ships collided. The accident that happened nearly 5 days ago has now grown to colossal proportions. Coastal guards, local fishermen and volunteers now work together to clean up nearly 30 kilometers of coastal land, including the famous Marina Beach that has been affected. Earlier today, our reporter Shweta gets us more details.
Oil spill took place when two ships collided together in the Ennur port. This incident occurred 6 days ago, and since then there is no sign of development here. Relief operations have been going on and they are using buckets to clear the spill from the spot. There is an absence of specialized equipments here. Also, the fishermen's livelihood has been affected and they demand a compensation from the government. Also, the oil spill has been spread 35 kilometers along the coastal line. Authorities have to take swift action, and this is what the fishermen want. In Chennai, Shweta for Magic Bricks now.
Now, even as Chennai fights the oil spill, we also spoke to a few heroes who've been hard at work scooping out the sludge and trying to clean up the beach.
Massive cleanup drive underway here at the Chennai's coastline after Sunday's oil spill, and this is the kind of situation that is prevailing on ground. People are manually cleaning the beach stretch, which is something which is very difficult at the moment, and this is something which is going on for the past 3 days, ever since the collision between both the ships happened at the Ennur port. So we are far away from the Ennur port, but still we can see the kind of damage that the collision has caused and the oil spill has caused. And here are some of the volunteers from different parts of Chennai who are involved in this process, though you can see how they are trying to clean up this entire stretch manually, and they don't have any kind of safety gear, which is something which is basic and which is important. But this is the kind of situation that is prevailing here on ground. How long you have been involved in this process and how difficult it is?
No, we have involved in this process from past 2 days, and yes, it is very difficult to do this because there is no safety precautions taken by the government of Tamil Nadu and government of India. This should have been controlled when the leakage has took place, but still it has spreaded very long, and cleaning up this process takes too much time. I don't know, it might take months together to clean up the complete process, and for marine life and for the livelihood of the fishermen, it's very difficult for them. I don't know how many days they will be living without food and all.
But initially the port authorities said that this is something, there is nothing to worry because there is no oil spill or there is no oil leakage. And after that, the next day they said that it is only 1 ton of oil that has leaked into the sea.
This happened on Saturday, right? Okay, if there is no any problem, then by now the government would have taken any caution to clean all those things. By now they're taking. So we students took initiative to do all those things. by this process will be continued till a month. It takes more than a month to clean full entire process. Till that the marine growth and any organisms in the sea, they get damaged and the lifespan of them, it get reduces.
Coast Guards and locals, meanwhile, have scooped up over 54 tons of oil sludge. Now, Vijay from Times Now gives us a ground perspective of how this oil spill is affecting daily life.
Sir, I am right now on a boat over here going towards the Ennur-Kamraj port where the site of the collision happened. As you can see over here, we are off the coast of where we were here earlier, and we were showing the visuals of how there were people trying to remove all the oil spillage that happened. And this is about 8 to 10 nautical miles away from the coast, and this is the entire coastal area of Ennur. And there you can see that is the coast, that is the Kamraj port, and there the ships get collided. And right now over there, we see the ships going on with, and both the
Meanwhile, the oil spill has put marine life at risk, severely impacting the livelihood of fisherfolk. Shweta gets us this ground report.
இந்த எண்ணெய்னால எங்களுக்கு தொழில் ரொம்ப பாதிக்கப்படுது. இதனால என்ன செய்யனா மீன் இத பத்தி வந்து வதந்தி கை போட்டாங்க. மீன் வந்து இது எண்ணெயை குடிச்சிச்சு, எண்ணெயை சாப்பிட்டுச்சு. அதனால மீன் வந்து யாரும் வாங்க கூடாதுன்னு சொல்லிட்டாங்க. எங்களுக்கு பாத்தீங்கன்னா நான் தொழிலுக்கு போனா யாருமே இந்த மீனை வாங்க மாட்டாங்க. எங்களுக்கு ரொம்ப லாஸ் ஆயிடுச்சு.
தொழிலுக்கு வந்து நாங்கள் போக முடியாத அளவுக்கு ஒரு வாரம் ஆச்சுங்க இந்த எண்ணெய் பாதிப்புனால. ஆனால் மீன் பிடிச்சின்னு வந்தால் கூட எங்களுக்கு சரியாக விற்க மாதிரி எங்கள் கூட்டு குடும்பம்லாம் வந்து பாதிக்கப்படுதுங்க. தொழிலுக்கு போகிறதுக்கு கஷ்டமாக இருக்குது. அப்படியே போயிட்டு வந்தால் கூட யாரும் ஜனங்க மீன் வாங்க மாட்டாங்க. அப்போ குடும்பம் எப்படி போகிறதுக்கு? எங்கள் குடும்பம் எப்படி நாங்கள் பிழைக்கிறது? எங்களுக்கு வந்து கவர்மெண்ட் எங்களுக்கு உதவி பண்ணணும். அதுதாங்க.
This kind of damage to the sea is going to cause a long time impact, because this is not some small oil slick, it is sludge. It's okay, and in the next couple of months all the fish come for breeding, okay, to the shores, and all the fish, and in the next from the month of May or something, they put a ban on fishing as well, even in the local waters. Of course there's a lot of government people here, but I think much more can be done. Actually there's much more. I've seen such oil spills in the Mediterranean, but it is of prime concern because life begins in the ocean. I think if people should understand that life begins in the ocean. So if it's not taken care, then I actually would love to call more general public at least to come forward and give their hands, okay, which might at least change a little bit of damage.
There you go. Nearly 30 kilometers of coastal land continues to be covered in black wave. In the meantime, political parties cutting across party lines attempt to score brownie points. Now, the opposition party DMK has squarely blamed the AIA-DMK for mismanagement of this mishap.
Connected to all departments, merely 15 departments involved in this, and totally 1,500 employees daily they are working. You might be seen in that area, that Ennur area, Ramakrishna Nagar. So what luckily the oil actually not float in the mid-sea. So being in a density actually more, it actually comes to the shore, that to the bay. The bay means actually small bay, because of the groins created by the state government for the purpose of sea erosion. So in that area the oil has been collected. So we actually with the human power totally actually up to date 60 tons of oil actually we taken into custody and fully filled up with the barrel and in the safe custody. So another 20 tons maybe in that area, that will be removed shortly. We have created WhatsApp group. So district collector is the coordinator, Chennai and Thiruvallur district. So all are coordinating. There is no question of non-cooperation.
Sir, I'd like to bring to the notice of this House about an oil spill which has happened near Kamarajar Port. in North Chennai on the 29th of January. On the 29th of January, after the spill, the port authorities had given a press release saying that there is no damage to the environment like oil pollution and no casualty or injury to the persons. And on the 31st, there is another press release by the port authority saying that Chennai port has taken up measures for cleaning of oil spillage aftermath of 2 vessels which has collided near the Kamarajar port. This is 3 days back. So I'd like to bring to the notice of this House that there is no, the different organizations of the government are not coming together when a damage like this happens. And there are reports that indicate around 35 kilometers of the Chennai coastline has been polluted, and marine life, including turtles and fish, have died, and the ecosystem has been irreparably damaged. The livelihood of fishermen and their health and safety are of concern. There is a confusion whether the Coast Guard or the Kamarajar Port Authority should lead the cleaning operations. Initially, the Coast Guard used 2 submersible pipes to remove the oil. At some point, the workers of the port and locals were scooping out oil using buckets. There is a clear lack of coordination between the Coast Guard, Kamarajar Port authorities and the Fishing Ministry.
This is almost the 6th day that we are actually talking about, and there's no estimate as yet in terms of how much oil has been spilled. And it has an impact on the marine biodiversity of the entire area. Right now, we've actually seen the entire Chennai coastline. There is a lot of sludge that is there. There's a lot of oil that has actually reached. There are almost 500 species of fish that we have in that entire area, and that is going to get affected. So it has, in short term, it affects the marine biodiversity, and in the long term, it also affects the entire food chain and livelihood of thousands of people who actually live around Chennai.
Well, over the course of the day, we'll keep a very close watch on that story for you. Moving on now, post-Union Budget 2017, after affordable housing got its much-awaited infrastructure tag. In an exclusive Magic Bricks Now interview, the Secretary of Housing Ministry, Nandita Chatterjee, breaks down the announcements made in Budget 2017 and what it means for you and me. Deepa Rana caught up with her. Listen in.
Ms. Nandita Chatterjee, ma'am, thanks a lot for talking to us. A big happy news coming in for the Housing Ministry. Affordable housing has got infrastructure status. What will it mean from now onwards for the real estate sector, ma'am?
Yes, of course, we are delighted, absolutely, because it's been a lot of years of hard work and persuasion. And one is absolutely feels very, very satisfied that the Finance Ministry has accepted this ministry's recommendation to consider affordable housing in the harmonized master list of infrastructure subsectors. It has been a very long-standing demand of the sector, and a large number of associations and organizations, particularly of developers and builders, have been approaching this ministry for a long time with this request. So I think it's a happy situation for all of us. To put it in a very practical frame, with the you are aware that the Real Estate Act 2016, it was formally notified, and now most of the rules are getting drafted, and by April 17 the regulators and the tribunals will have to be put in place. So we have an enabling environment for this infrastructure status to be put in place, so as to ensure that the facilities or the benefits which will arise as a result of this infrastructure status, actually it gets percolated to the affordable housing segment. So placing the regulator in place really creates the environment and the support for this recognition. As far as the developers are concerned, it will facilitate access to low-cost and long-term funds for the sector, and it can hopefully be passed on to the consumers and home buyers, which will reduce the cost of affordable housing. Because if you're able to access funds at a lower rate and your costs of construction are reasonably rationalized, then you are likely to sell it at a more reasonable rate to the consumer. So that is one of our expectations. Secondly, the resource allocation for this real estate sector, we hope that it's going to augment significantly. Particularly, we will have financial institutions who are going to look at favorably to this sector. There will be lower risk weightages to give loans for affordable housing once it's classified as an infrastructure. And also we have large public sector investors like the insurance firms, the provident fund organizations, who actually have a mandate to put their funds out to the infrastructure sector. So a lot of funds coming in, more accessible at lower costs, and providing kind of a boost to the supply side. So what we feel is that private investment in the affordable housing sector should really get a fillip through this. We are also confident that, as a result of this infrastructure status, there would be certain tax and fiscal concessions to the builders and the developers, and which will of course be notified subsequently in the Income Tax Act. So the fiscal concessions, they'll be more and more encouraged to invest in affordable housing. Now this is the supply side, but in the demand side also we have a lot of initiatives that's happened. Apart from the Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana, which was launched in the end of June 2015, you would be aware the Honorable Prime Minister had dedicated to the nation on 31st December 2016 two special packages for the middle income groups. So we are expecting a lot of demand for housing loans to result as a result of this process. And if the supply of affordable housing also goes up, it's going to be a win-win situation for both the buyers and the seller.
Now, Deepa also caught up with the chairman of NAREDCO, Rajiv Talwar. Listen in.
90% of the demand in housing was for affordable housing. The finance minister has very well and very ably removed either a distance consideration or a value consideration and made it an area-based approach, that 30 square meters carpet area or 60 square meters carpet area. I think he's laid the foundation of the new direction given to urbanization in future. Well, I think the carpet area has been given. That's been a big achievement of what we had asked for. We had also asked for 1,000 square feet infrastructure status that has come about for all the cities. So I think the government and the finance minister have been very live to the needs not only of the industry but more than that the people of India. So those demands having been met, I think there is scope now to see that there will be an exponential growth in the number of companies and the number of entrepreneurs who will now come into the housing, construction and real estate industry. The banks, which will be financing much more, and most of all for employment and GDP growth. The interest subvention of 4% up to 9 lakhs loan and 3% up to a 12 lakh loan is a very good incentive for people to invest up to 20-25 lakhs. I think the big market which exists in India is those people who are yet looking forward to their first home. So if the second home is looked by those who are thinking of investing in, sometimes not for a personal use, or if it's for a family member's use, then that means the income sources are tied and united. Therefore, the sources available to them are higher, and hence there need not be an incentive of a tax concession on them. I think affordable housing and the push being given to it and the sheer volume of that will negate the use of black money now, especially when it has been rooted out. And if people are going in for more and more banking transactions, I think the promise to transform India will take place. That you come through the banks, provide money through the banking channels, and you all have a reason to grow and prosper in India.
Moving on now, with the government firmly rolling out the remonetization process, cash has started to flow at banks and ATMs. But the message today is to go cashless. In a bid to take forward its Remonetize India campaign, the Times Network organized a bike rally in Bengaluru, through which a very unique message of going cashless was put forth.
Hello and welcome to Times Network's Go Cash Rally. We are here on ground to spread the message, asking the people to go cashless. In fact, we have about 20 bike riders holding placards that read, "We pledge nobody should be left behind," as the nation moves ahead. In fact, spreading and urging the people around the city, asking them to go cashless using the digital transactions, also helping the people who are living in marginalized areas and the farmers to make use of the money and divert the cash from the urban areas to the rural areas. Also, we have these riders who will be making pit stops, that is starting from Corporation Circle. They will be heading towards MG Road and then Church Street and culminating at Hosur Road. Also, they will be making pit stops at some of the populated areas, shouting the re-monetize pledge, asking the people to go from cashless cash economy to the cashless transactions. Also, what we understand is that they are here to spread the message to the people across the city that it is high time that people started using digital transaction and help the country revive its economy.
And that's a wrap on the news on Magic Bricks. Now stay with us.
You can watch live TV on our website mpnow.in. Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/magicbricksnow. And don't forget to click the like button. You can also follow us on Twitter at magicbricksnow. To stay updated with all our programming, hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel by logging on to youtube.com/magicbricksnow.